Okay, shop update. What I'm going to do is I've got a couple of different topics to cover. Got some welding that I did on motor mount brackets that I put in the shop update. And I'm just going to intersperse that welding in with some of the other topics that I've got going on. One of the cool things about the welding though is I used a piece of copper pipe to use as a if you know when you're welding, if you put a piece of copper like a copper backing, it won't weld to it. It'll weld against it, but it will not weld to it. Well, I used a piece of copper pipe in a hole or a slot in something to keep the weld from going into the hole or slot, and it worked great. So that's going to be in there with the welding. I know that some people like to watch welding, but I just brought you over here to the toolbox for the intro. Just wanted to show you something. Getting full. Okay, motor mount for the haul truck, but I'm using it as a shop update because it's really just metal fabrication. So I'll show it to you. I've got it tagged up. It's upside down right now. I'm gonna run some stitch welds along through here. They're gonna be pretty big stitch welds, or pretty long. Okay, the gussets, I'm just tacking them on. I had to put this band on the back side of it because there's like an indentation in that cross member, and what happens is this gets pulled up in the indentation and it cocks this thing way down. So I wanted to put this, it's a piece of 3/8 square stock in there. And what it'll do is it'll just go right up into that indentation. So this will set flush on the front of the mount or the cross member, and this will ride up in the indentation on it. I'm just going to tag it for now, bolt it on, make sure it works. But I'll leave you on. We're over here to that front support on the Ford truck. And I just wanted to explain what I called a band that I had to put on there. This is that existing cross member that goes in there. And as you can see, it goes down and then it raises back up. And that's what I'm going to take you over to a little sketch I made of that thing and explain to you what I had to do, why I had to put that band on the back of it. And hopefully you're going to be able to see this and it's not being blown out by the light. But anyways, this is that existing member that comes up. What it does is it comes down and it loops around and it raises back up, and that's why this raised up portion of it is why I had to do it. So my angle iron that supports the channel iron, this is a channel iron that the motor mount rests on right here. That is welded to this angle iron, and this angle iron comes back across that member. Well, it ended just after that raised portion, and I didn't want to have vibration or anything, kick this thing a little forward and that go up there, thus rolling that down. So what I did is put that piece of square stock back in here so that it can't be raised or it can't roll back up there should it slip forward a little bit. So that angle iron goes across there. It's well supported on the front here, but that piece of square stock covers in that raised area so that it can't pivot up. Hope that explains it to you. We're going to switch topics not right now, and I'm going to show you a little haul that I had to make this week. Getting full. Okay, down in Pennsylvania, got this load of racks. I don't know how well it's going to show up because of the sun. But anyways, we're cool. I have this engine mount, and it's got some torch cut marks around where they cut it out of the engine, or cut the engine out of the vehicle, the truck. It's got torch marks around there. Now I want to preserve that hole, so what I'm going to do is I'm sticking a piece of copper in there, and I'm just using this file to kind of wedge it. I'm going to weld around that, and hopefully that copper will preserve the hole. Let me bring you back when I'm doing it, or after I've done it, and I'll show you what happened. Okay, I did it on the far side. Now I haven't saw it yet. I haven't taken this out, but that worked. Yeah, that worked. That's cool. Just gonna use this video as a shop update. I'm not, man, that's hot too. I've got to get in here and do that. what I'll do is I'll let that cool off, and I'll just grind it down. But I'm happy with that copper working in that hole like that. That was pretty cool. One of the things that I had to do with my truck is I've noticed over the last month or two, the air conditioner seems to not be as cold as it was when I had first got the truck, or even last year. So I made the trip to Pennsylvania, pick up them racks, and the air conditioner hardly worked at all. I mean, it was cool, much cooler. It was cool, wasn't cold. The air out of the vents was cool, and it would cool the cab enough to be much better than the outside air. But let me just explain one thing, is I don't really use air conditioning a lot. What I do use it is if I'm talking on the phone with somebody, I want to roll the windows up, so I'll turn the air conditioner on. The other thing is if I'm trying to listen to the GPS, I'll roll the windows up and be listening to the GPS if I'm in a place where I'm not familiar with or don't know where I'm going, or looking for a certain address. I'll be looking and listening to the GPS. But anyways, so what I did is when I came back, I had to stop and pick something up that I had ordered at the auto parts store, and I asked the guy about it and a recharging thing for it, and he sold me this. Now, it's supposed to be the best. It's got some other chemical added to it that helps the refrigerant in it work better. I guess it's R13 134A. But anyways, it's got some other chemical. That's a refrigerant, by the way. That 134A is a refrigerant. The R. It's got some other chemical in it, and what they do is this thing just as a quick connect, it hooks onto that port, which is you probably won't gonna be able to see it, but it's right back there on the coolant line. It just clips onto that, and what there's safety pins in this thing that you have to pull out before you can release the agent. They pull out, but these safety pins also clip onto the air vents in your truck, and they turn blue when you have enough liquid in there, when you have enough refrigerant in there. Now, there's only a little bit left in the can. The guy at the auto parts store says you're probably only going to use half the can if you've got any cooling at all. Well, it took probably 7/8 of the can to get it down to where I thought it was good enough. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to show that to you. This stuff is good. Black Diamond Avalanche, it's good stuff. It worked well. It worked well, not only cooling the air, the refrigerant worked well, but it also is very easy to connect and operate. Just the added note, by the way, I'm not getting paid, or I didn't get this shit for free. You know what I mean? I paid for it just like normal people pay for it. I was just my opinion of it, that it worked great. Okay, let's switch over again. I'm going to show you the mounts after I got it painted and how that hole came out. So we're going to go to those clips now. 3 doors. Just standard sizes, not even metric. Getting full. Okay, I told you I was going to show you the painting stuff on these motor mounts. You don't want to, I'm not going to put it in the truck build, but anyways, there is where I use that pipe, the copper pipe inside of that hole to keep from weld from building up inside the hole. Anyways, there's one of the motor mounts painted red. The frame rail motor mount is painted black. there's only one side. It was primed, and then the one side was painted black. I'm waiting for that to dry enough to be able to flip it over and get a coat of black on the back of it. Let me take you over to the truck, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing over there with the motor mounts. It will be covered in the truck series, but we'll just videotape it after it's all installed so that you can see the paint scheme. And here we are over at the engine, and that's the other engine bracket that's been installed on it. Now, what I did is after I took it off to clean it up, oblongate this hole and weld these torch marks back in again, I came over here and just kind of sprayed that housing. Now, kind of the biggest reason I'm doing it, not only do I want it painted, but one of the biggest reasons I'm doing it is this housing is aluminum. This bracket is steel. And I'm not sure from the factory if they did anything to stop a can't think of the word, but the reaction you get between steel and aluminum. I'm not sure if they did anything. It didn't appear to me like there was anything on the back of the mount when I took it off. So I wanted to get a layer of paint in between those two metals so that it wouldn't happen a galvanic reaction, or yeah, that's what it is, a galvanic reaction. This is the box that's on the front of my trailer. The box came equipped with the trailer when I bought it from PJ. Never had a problem until the last couple of weeks with this thing, and now it doesn't latch it for some reason when you shut it. But if you hold it down and put the key in the lock and lock it, it latches. And what is strange about the whole situation, when you put the key in there and turn it to lock it, it doesn't change anything. Got to take a look at it, try and see if I can figure out what's going on with the thing. I'll bring you back. Well, I got it. All I did was took a hammer and just kind of pounded this thing over this locking mechanism. Why it was, let me get my keys out so that I can show you. I don't know what the hell. Hang on. This locking mechanism, and hopefully, I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to see it. Will it adjust to it? All it does, and I can't see whether you can see, what it does is when you lock this thing, I never get the key out, it just turns that tab up. Well, what it was doing is when that tab was up, it was pushing against that, thus pushing this thing over farther into it. So that's why it was working with the, when you locked it, it pushed it over further. So what I did is just took a hammer and pounded that over a little bit. It works fine now without having to lock it. So that was pretty simple. I'm a big proponent of flexible drive sockets, and Mac, you know, like Mac, like Snap-on, has specials every month. Now they had these sockets on sale for like $100. It was for that entire set, which is a lot more than you would pay for Craftsman, but I had been using flex socket because of that steering column, but I had the 1/2-inch cordless impact in it, and I was using one of these things, and it just it doesn't work because it's when you hammer on it, the socket, this universal will come disconnected from the socket, and so I'm going to be using this. Now this is 3/8 drive, and I would have probably had an issue because I would have to gotten a 1/2 to 3/8 drive adapter for it. But I am a big proponent of these sockets. They're very useful. I've been wanting to get a set of impact type of universal sockets. Although I don't have the 3/8 gun, what I would have been using was the air 3/8 air impact, but I just got these, so I bought them, and I was looking at a flashlight. He had a flashlight laying on his counter. This damn thing is it's an LED rechargeable battery, and let me show it to you. It's really, really bright. And there's a lower setting on it, but I'm gonna throw it in the truck. Mac Tool Guy gave it to me. He says, yeah, you're a good customer, you buy a lot of stuff off of me, so you can have it. I think the thing is like $80 or something like that. It's rechargeable. Let me see if I can show this to you. You spin this thing back, and it exposes a charging port in it, and it's got a 110 charging adapter to it, which will be cool because I have an inverter in my truck, so I can just plug it in if it runs low.